Hey everybody, I hope you're ready for a good old-fashioned book haul. Today I'm here to tell you about so many books. So many books, I'm going to turn it into two parts. But I need to make your TBR explode, so let's get ready. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. I have to say, there has been a break in the heat in Northern California. Thank goodness. I just need a little bit of a respite. It has dropped quite a few degrees actually. It gets quite chilly at night, but it has been nice. I have been traveling a lot for work, but I have been reading, and while I've been reading, amazing books have been sent my way. So today I'm here to tell you all about them. So let's get started. Get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads, however you keep track of your TBR. If you are so able, get these books from your local independent bookstore, or if you're a library user, get your library to get you a copy as soon as possible. Okay, so we're going to start with Liars by Sarah Manguso. This is out from Hogarth Books. I love like a story of a relationship gone sour. I love of a book of like one member of a relationship figuring out who they are and moving forward, and that's what Liars is all about. This is the story of Jane and John. Jane is our main character. She's an aspiring writer when she meets John, who is an inspiring filmmaker. They of course fall in love. They have this perfect life together. They have a child, but things then start to go sour. I love how the book says, and it goes, but it is not long until Jane finds herself subsumed by John's ambitions, whims, and ego. In short, she becomes a wife. And then as her career starts to take off, the marriage starts to go sour. And one day John leaves and Jane starts to figure out who she is and where she's going to go in life. I love these type of books. I'm so excited for this. That's Liars by Sarah Manguso. This is out from Hogarth Books. Okay, this book is actually just coming out in the US, but it was actually longlisted for the Booker Prize last year, and that is Pearl by Hughes. This is coming out in the US from Knopf. I love this cover so much, and I'm going to say this about a lot of books, but I do also love a small town story with a bit of a mystery. This is the story of Marianne. Marianne grew up in this small English village. And it was her father, her brother, and her mother. Her mother's rather eccentric, rather over the top, sort of has this home life of exaggeration. And then when she's about 8 years old, Marianne's mother disappears and her body is never found. Now Marianne has returned to this small town, a mother herself, and she starts to sort of think back on her life. And she starts to try to figure out what are actually her memories of her mother and what are things that have been put into her head. And it says, ultimately, what saves Marianne both then and now is a medieval poem called Pearl. Finding a copy among her mother's things, she discovers its music a lullaby for the future, preparation for life in a world in which her mother's absence will be a permanent part of reality. This book took 40 years to write, I think it says here, and is John Hughes's debut novel, and though she is a poet and a published poet and an award-winning poet, but this is her debut. I cannot wait. It took a while for this to get out here in the US. I waited patiently, but it sounds fantastic. I've got a lot of weird family stuff going on in the books that I'm telling you about today. The next book I want to tell you about is called Banal Nightmare by Halle Butler. This is out from Random House. And this is the story of Moddie, Moddie. She abruptly ends a long-term relationship. She's like, I am done with it. And she returns to her small hometown. And she starts to sort of like, I think the book says she throws herself on the mercy of her old friend group. But they're like sort of tipping towards middle age. And so they have decided to start going to parties, and then the bickering and banter, the drama starts in this. And when one of her friends invites this East Coast artist to take up a residency at the local university, Maudie has to really start rethinking everything that she knows about herself and come to a reckoning about her past, the secrets that she's kept, and also her friends, who I guess go in. I think the cover of this book, which is just so perfect for like that drama gossipy thing that seems to be at its heart, obsessed with Banal Nightmare by Halle Butler, out from Random House. Okay. This book is not the same as anything that I've talked about so far. And this is Someone Like Us by Dinaw, Mengestu. I apologize for that. This is out from Knopf right now. And this is a very different book, though still in a way a family drama, y'all. So we meet our main character. He has abandoned his like career. He had like this really promising career to be a journalist, and he decides to start all over in Paris, where he meets Hannah, a photographer, and he falls utterly in love. And he moves to Paris, they start a relationship, they get married, they have children, and then all of a sudden his marriage starts to sort of stumble. And he returns to Washington, D.C., to the Ethiopian community where he grew up, to his mother. And he finds out, and this is in the first few pages, I've read the first few pages of this, he finds out that Samuel has died. And he's always known, though never been readily admitted, that Samuel is his father. This sort of, what do I want to say? He's like, Samuel's been in his life, but off and on, in his mom's life, off and on, but Samuel is now passed. And once that sort of happens, our main character decides that he is going to try to figure out more about his father, more about Samuel, and he starts traveling across the United States. And he goes to answer questions about his past, Samuel's past, and how that really affects his thing, as he tries to figure out ways to get himself in a place to return home to his wife and children. Yeah, I think that sounds great. I cannot wait to read Someone Like Us by Dinaw Mengestu, and I apologize for that. Okay. Next is the novel The Lost Boy of Santa Chionia by Juliet Grams. This is out from Knopf. I don't know what this, there's something about this cover that I am just absolutely drawn to. I love it so much. But we are now in 1960s southern Italy, where our main character, an American, has arrived in this small town to start a nursery school. Now, there's no electricity, there's no running water. Due to this flood that had just occurred, there's no mail system. And when the flood subsides, a skeleton is found. And a woman who is, I think, the housekeeper of the local priest, wants the police to investigate because she thinks it may be her son. Okay. And no, they're not going to. They don't want to. So Francesca, our young woman who has arrived from America as an outsider, decides to see if she can investigate who this skeleton is and what went on and how this murder occurred. And I do love, there's more to this because it says, one identified skeleton, 3 missing men, and a village full of secrets. So I am here for it. Set in 1916 southern Italy. I hope that she's able to just create that atmosphere, sort of like the cover of the book, that just sort of, I'm here for it. I think it sounds so good. That's The Lost Boy of Santa Chionia, and that's by Juliet Grams, out from Knopf. Okay, now we're going to be talking about books that haven't come out or are coming out a little bit later. And I have started to be sent some horror novels. Is that not fun? Dan and I have been reading some horror stuff over the year, and now they're starting to show up in the mail, and I'll take it. This first one I want to talk about is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DiLouie, and this is out from Redhook Books. This is the story of Max. This book is set in the 1980s. He's a famous horror movie, slasher movie director. People love him, actors love him, but he wants to go somewhere and do something new. People just really like him to do what he does. Our other main character is Sally Priest. She wants to be, I love this, the final girl. She thinks she is... what's the word? She thinks she's leading lady material. She wants to be in the horror movie. She wants to be the woman who makes it to the end. Well, then one night, Max discovers this old camera that actually filmed this atrocity, this Hollywood atrocity. And he decides he's going to use that camera to film his new movie. But that camera comes with secrets and Is it haunted? Is it not haunted? What is it going to do? And things get scary. I think it actually sounds kind of fun. I hope I'm not terrified when we read it, but that is How to Make a Horror Movie and Survive by Craig DiLouie. DiLouie? I'm going to say DiLouie because I think it's fun. I'm sorry, Craig, if that's not how you say your last name, but from Redhook. Redhook sends me a lot of fantasy, so I absolutely am obsessed with them right now. Yeah, I should do a book on Redhook. I should do a video on Redhook fantasy. The next book that I want to tell you about is Chuck Tingle's Bury Your Gaze. This is out from Nightfire. It came out, or is coming out, a little bit later this month. I think it comes out in July of 2024. This is a book, I'm about 40 pages into it. This is campy horror to its best. Though I will say, it is definitely not gross. This is the story of Misha. He is in Hollywood. He's very successful. He's just been nominated for an Oscar, I think for a short film. He writes this very successful TV show, and it's like the final season, and he is finally going to write the scene between the two main characters, the two gay main characters that he's always wanted to write. And the studio calls him in and says, "You can't do it. We don't want it. You need to do something different. Here are the options." He refuses, and the minute he leaves, his life is in danger. And I will say, in the very few first pages, there's a scene where a man has a piano dropped on him that is very graphic, but in the same way has like this campy humor to it. I don't know if you all know who Chuck Tingle is. Google him. This is his, I think his second book out from Nightfire recently, but I am super excited for Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, out from Nightfire, which is a imprint of Tor, if you didn't know. And yeah, if you're looking for some summer campy horror fun, there's my recommendation. If you're looking for a little bit more of a literary horror, may I recommend Model Home by Rivers Solomon, out from MCD. You may remember Rivers Solomon's last novel, Sorrowland, I believe is what it was called. Yes, and then The Deep, which was phenomenal. Both of those books were phenomenal. They are an amazing writer. And this is their take on a horror novel, the Haunted House novel. And this is the story of the Maxwell sisters. They live in this house. They never wanted to really even go into it. They were the only black family in the neighborhood. And the house has always been scary. When they were little, there were strange noises, things that happened that were unexplainable. They could not wait to leave. Now they're adults, and they have to return because their parents have died. And when the sisters return, it becomes a question of whether or not they died naturally or supernaturally. Now, if you haven't read a Rivers Solomon novel, I have to say, put yourself in their hands. They will rock your world. They are so talented. I can't wait to see what they do with the horror novel trope. I'm so excited about it. So that is Model Home by Rivers Solomon, out from MCD. Oh, and that comes out October 1st, 2024. I'm sorry, I did not say that. Okay. The next book is a little problematic for me. I'm not going to read the title. I'm just going to hold the book up and tell you it's out also from FSG, and it's by Virginie Despentes. My French is terrible. Translated from the French by Frank Wynne, and that is this novel that I'm holding up right now. I'm going to take it down really quick, but I do want you to know that this novel, according to the insert, is like taking the French world by storm, and it's being considered an ultra contemporary dangerous liaisons, and it is the it's so funny already, I can't even. It's the story of Oscar, who is like a B-list novelist in his 40s, who gets in a conversation with a young actress named Rebecca, who he has insulted her looks via the internet, via social media. He goes in while she responds. And I'm just going to read you. Dear, title of book, I read the piece you posted on your Insta. You're like a pigeon pooping on my shoulder as you flap past. Congratulations, you've had your 15 minutes of fame. The proof, the fact that I bothered to write you at all. But as they sort of start to communicate with one another, a weird friendship starts to form, and they start to tackle some pretty deep topics like the patriarchy, addiction, drugs, alcohol, addiction to the internet, rage, and how that all works. So, this is a new novel by Virginie Despentes, translated from the French by Frank Wynne, out from FSG. And I actually think it sounds very, very good. I hope you pick it up. Okay. 3 more, I promise. We're almost to the end of this part of the book haul. An author that needs no introduction is Kate Atkinson and her new book, Death at the Sign of the Rook. It is a Jackson Brodie novel. If you don't know, Jackson Brodie is her ex-detective lead character. He's got sort of like that charm to him that we love about these sort of characters in these books. He has moved to this sleepy Yorkshire town. Or actually, he lives in a sleepy Yorkshire town, not moved there. Goodness. Long video, I know. And he has recently uncovered a string of art thefts that have occurred. And as he starts to investigate, he starts to learn more and more about the deceit. It says the spiral of disguise and deceit to Burton Makepeace, a formerly magnificent estate, now partially converted into a hotel hosting murder mystery weekends. As paying guests, aristocrats, and old friends collide, we are treated to Atkinson's most charming and fiendishly clever mystery yet, one that pays homage to the masters of the genre, from Agatha Christie to Dorothy Sayers to the modern era of Knives Out and Only Murders in the Building. So you always know you're in good hands with Kate Atkinson. She is phenomenal. So that's Death at the Sign of the Rook. That's coming out from Doubleday, and it comes out in September if you are looking for your fall mystery read. Okay, y'all, 2 more books. And actually, 2 books that I think you're going to want to have waited around for. Playworld by Adam Ross is out from Knopf. It actually doesn't come out until January 7th of 2025. But when I'm getting it this early, this means they are excited about this book. And I think I know why. I think if you're a fan of those big family dramas, epics, where every family member has a voice, this is going to be your type of book, and I think it's going to be pretty funny. At the heart of this book is Griffin Hurt. He is a young actor, a young boy. He plays a character named Peter Proton on a TV show, but he's also in high school at this elite boys prep school, and he has a lot going on. And he goes to therapy, but he can't share what's really going on with his therapist because it's the same therapist as his siblings, his parents go to, and he needs a place to sort of unwind. This takes place, by the way, during the Carter administration, to give you your time period. And that's where he meets Naomi Shaw. She's 22 years his senior. And it says, unwilling to lay his burdens on his shrink, Griffin soon finds himself in the back of Naomi's Mercedes sedan again and again, confessing all to the one person who might do him the most harm. And it says it immerses us in the life of Griffin and his loving, yet disintegrating family, while seeming to invoke the entirety of Manhattan and the ethos of an era, with Jimmy Carter on his way out and the B-list celebrity named Ronald Reagan on his way in. So right there at the start of the 80s, surrounded by adults who embody the age's excesses and who seem to care little about what their children are up to. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I don't know why, but I get like Skippy Dies vibe from it. Don't ask. I don't know if that's going to be true, but I'm super excited about it. And last but not least in this video is a novel by a literary titan, and that is The City and Its Uncertain Walls by Haruki Murakami. This is coming out from Knopf in November. Now, I read a lot of Murakami maybe 10 years ago. I read Kafka on the Shore, and I read The Weinberg Chronicle, and I read Norwegian Wood, and I read something else, which I'm totally blanking on right now. And I really liked it. And then I didn't read any of his stuff for a while, but this one comes highly recommended from a friend of mine, but I don't know anything about it. It just says, It's his first novel in 6 years. We revisit a town his readers will remember, a place where a dream reader reviews dreams and where shadows become untethered from ourselves. A love story, a quest, an ode to books and to the libraries that house them, and a parable for these strange post-pandemic times. The City and Its Uncertain Walls is a singular and towering achievement by one of modern literature's most important writers. So that doesn't tell me anything, but keeps me very interested in The City and Its Uncertain Walls by Haruki Murakami, out from Knopf. There is no way I can lift all of those books and show them to you again. They would drop and things would go everywhere. I'm actually afraid they're about to fall anyway. But I hope that of this list, 1, 2, 3, all of them have wound up on your TBR. As always, if you're a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, I thank you so much for coming. And I hope you hit subscribe and click the button. That's what I need. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everybody.